So, as some of you know, several of us went to the annual retreat, the Unity Ministers of the Mid-Atlantic States retreat at Cayuga this year. We just got back last week. Cayuga is this beautiful place that's close to Asheville in the mountains. Gorgeous setting, gorgeous lake. It was a perfect time of year to go. You know, we had a really deeply spiritual time together. And so I kind of wanted to give you a little taste of that experience. I had an experience early one morning, and I decided to write it down at the end of the day, and I want to share that with you. Okay, here we go. Early morning. I slowly come to life, rocking on the deck overlooking the lake. Coffee in hand, sunrise, pink clouds. The lake is calm. My mind is calm. The world is just waking up. Mist hugs the water on the right. Down further towards the end, a gaggle of geese rest on the surface, all in a line, about 30 or so, calm as the lake. Suddenly, a furious sound cuts the stillness. The gaggle begin honking all at once as if to warn the lake of their collective intention. Then 60 goose-wing propellers spin into action. The birds take off, kicking a tempest of water in their wake. They skim the surface for 200 yards or more, and in a synchronized dance, lift up together over the trees, and they're off. A moment later, they bank around to the right and fly directly over my head as if to say, "Watch this." The next moment, they disappear over the ridge, their honking echoing faintly in the distance now. The stillness returns, but only for a moment. With the next breath, a gaggle of laughter erupts on the dock that's hidden from me by the trees. A group of humans honking with delight at what we had just witnessed together. My heart smiles with a wonder and mystery of life. Give you a little feeling, a little taste of that. You know, nature, the order and harmony, symmetry and harmony. Ooh, I made a new word. Harmony and symmetry together. It's just amazing. I mean, everything, how nature just works together in this beautiful dance together. And how do the geese know when to fly? How do they find their way? How do they all find their way back? How do millions of monarch butterflies know to fly 3,000 miles from Canada all the way to Mexico in the fall and then return again and not get lost? How do they find their way? And not one butterfly makes it. It takes 4 generations to make that whole cycle because, they don't last that long. So what is the parent that's dying, somehow gets the message to the offspring, remember at that big mountain range with all those trees, make sure you turn right. How do they know? How do they know? And being a Southern California girl, I'm always amazed this time of year when the leaves begin to turn. It's like the trees have this inner alarm clock that goes off, and says, "Ooh, it's time for me to turn my leaves a brilliant color." It's just, and it doesn't seem to be as a result of the change in temperature because, Lord knows, it's been really warm here in October. So I'm sure there's a scientific reason for all of it, and that's great, but it's just the way that everything works together in this gorgeous dance, this harmony, this perfect order. We're talking about the power of order today. And, our physical bodies, as Chris was leading us in the meditation, I was thinking about all of those parts of the body I mean, it's such a miracle of the power of order in our bodies. Everything is working in perfect order. The heart beats steadily, the blood circulates, as you were saying, all the organs are doing their perfect thing. The digestion turns everything we eat into muscle and tissue. And the most amazing part of all is the intelligent order of our brain, that interprets what our eyes see, what our ears hear, sends messages to all of our muscles to move when we need to move, and is in communication with every part. That amazing intelligence. You may have heard that the Nobel Prize for Medicine this year was awarded to 3 American scientists who studied the circadian rhythm. And we've heard about the circadian rhythm in humans, but they're discovering it's that same process that works in animals and in plants. Kind of a beautiful manifestation of the power of order. And we bring this order out into our daily lives, right? Most of our daily routine is sort of a sequence. It's sort of an orderly thing. Everything we make has a sequence and order to it. If we're baking a cake, there's a sequence, a specific order. We don't put the baking soda into the eggs. We don't put the frosting into the cake batter. All that gets in there, but you have to have a specific sequence. Painting a wall, there's a sequence to that. You mask off the molding, and you spackle, and you lay down the tarp, and maybe you prime, and then you paint. There's an order. Creating a meaningful Sunday service is definitely a sequence and order that we have discovered over time is the most effective. And I'm sure in your work life or what you do in your volunteer time most things have a sequence and an order to it. That wonderful process of order. And on a spiritual level, the power of order is really manifested in the way, the orderly process of really how everything comes into manifestation. Unity refers to this as mind, idea, expression. Mind, idea, expression. And in other words, divine mind or the divine spirit desires to express in some beautiful, magnificent way. That desire is then an idea. That idea gathers energy, and through natural evolution and natural laws of, physical laws, comes into expression, manifestation, all the way from the formation of the universe to this amazing planet and all the amazing things in it, to each one of us, to the love in our heart that we experience when we connect to it. That amazing process. And we, as expressions of that same thing, we are expressions of the one, right? So we kind of mirror this same process in our lives, kind of on a microcosmic level. So we desire something to have or express or experience something. That desire then is an idea. That idea is formulated, and that idea is then expressed. Now, this happens first on the level of the absolute, the spiritual realm, the realm of ideas, the non-physical. We exist in 2 realms simultaneously. We're in the physical, here and now, physical human experience, but at the same time, we exist in the spiritual realm, the realm of ideas, of pure beingness. And so the mind idea expression, it comes forth in the world of ideas first. But if we generate enough energy, your song, Judy, generate the energy. We generate the energy around that idea through affirmations, a positive reflection, visualization. And if there's nothing that gets in the way of it, like feelings of unworthiness, false core beliefs, lack of faith, or any other of the toxic energy like, resentment. Those are the things that block the natural flow of ideas into experience. If none of that is in the way, then that idea that we have generated the energy around becomes experience in our lives. I mean, it's a beautiful, amazing process. And it's this sequence of mind, idea, expression. Charles Fillmore identified the power of order as one of our 12 spiritual powers. We're doing a series, for those of you who are new, we're doing a series on the 12 powers, which are kind of energy centers within us, kind of like chakras that are access points to our spiritual power. And they each have kind of a different quality. And the power of order is really our ability to organize and sequence and adjust and arrange. And he saw that sort of right here around the area of the navel, close to the power of wisdom. And that's, probably intentional because those two things work together really well. Wisdom is really good for order, and order is really good for wisdom. Both of those things work together well. Excuse me, he said, order is the first law of the universe. Indeed, there could be no universe unless its various parts were kept in perfect harmony. And there's that word harmony again, is that part of an aspect of the power of order. And one of the most beautiful things about the power of order is that it can help us prioritize that endless stream of to-dos in our life in a way that supports what's meaningful to us. And it can also help us to sequence tasks that we might need to do in order to achieve goals that are important to us. So the power of order can really help to support that. Now, for those who are kind of free-thinking and creative and spontaneous, this ability to organize and arrange and prioritize doesn't necessarily come naturally. It doesn't feel like it's natural. This feels like it's work. People who have an undeveloped power of order, this ability to organize, it feels elusive. But we all have the power, right? We all have these 12 powers. It's just some of them we need to activate and work with. Now, on the other side of that, the overdeveloped power of order, this ability to organize and arrange and, put things in order, that can be really compulsive, and to the point where, severe OCD, it can be crippling. So that ability, that power of order we can work with that to help bring that into balance. And speaking of balance, the power of order can help us achieve a kind of a healthy balance in our lives. So if we notice that we're just too busy, our lives are just so full of activity, there's just so much going on, that, it's just so busy, we can make an adjustment. We can notice that, take a breath, make an adjustment, and then consciously, intentionally carve out a little more time in our lives to just be, to nurture our spirit, to listen to our body, to listen to our inner guidance. That adjustment, that adjustment is part of the aspect of the power of order. And then, of course, on the other extreme, maybe we've been still a long time. We've been retreating a little too long. Then we can notice that and make an adjustment and add more activity. Engage in activity and socializing and, get a goal and go for it. So it's this kind of yin-yang balance that really we all kind of crave, all of us. It's just when we have to be conscious and, listen to ourselves to see, and then we sort of make that adjustment that helps us stay in balance. And nobody gets it perfect, right? Just get off the hook for that, right? Especially the work-life balance and, moms, working parents, and balancing that with work. You're constantly adjusting, right? There is no perfect balance, so just get over the fact that there's perfect there. It's just constantly adjusting to something that feels healthy for you. And, it's different for every person. So speaking of setting a goal and achieving a dream, we can use that power of order to bring them to fruition. And the first thing that we can do is apply this orderly sequence to our affirmative prayer work. Affirmative prayer, religious science talks about treatment. It's really the same thing. It's kind of different words, but the same kind of steps. There's a sequence to it that makes it more effective. The first step is we breathe, we relax the body, we relax the thinking mind, relax the monkey mind, and focus our attention in our heart. The second step is that we open to the awareness of the one, of the infinite, of the one power and presence, the one essence and energy of all. And we can also, in this step, acknowledge the qualities of that one. The qualities of that one divine essence is love, peace, wisdom, joy, wholeness, well-being, abundance of good, right? That's in that step. Then the next step is that we acknowledge our oneness with the one, that we are an expression of the fullness of the divine, not just a little bit, the fullness of the presence we are an expression of. And so that means we have the qualities that we just acknowledged are our qualities too. We're one with that, see? And then the next step is that we spend a little time in the silence, in the quiet, and just open to that. Just feel the joy that brings, the joy that dream has for us, and just kind of feel that energy and vibrate to that for a while. Visualize a little bit here. The next step is to express our gratitude. Our gratitude for, this is already the truth. This is already the spiritual reality in the realm of the absolute. This is already so. I don't have to make it happen. It's already there. So I'm so grateful for my awakened awareness, that I can see it. And then the last step is to release it all to the universe to take care of the details. We release it all. So following this orderly sequence, like this for affirmative prayer, so what we're doing is we're building one awareness on top of the next. We're building our awareness, so by the time we get to the end, we can say, and so it is, and know it confidently that is so. If we started the whole process with and so it is, it wouldn't have the same effect, right? So we're building this consciousness to a place where we can affirm and really know, and so it is. And so it is. And by the way, all of these steps, I've written them out. They're a handout in your program, so you can take that with you. So this ability to prioritize, organize, align, balance, harmony, and adjustment. These are the gifts that the power of order gives us. So working with it, just, you can, in meditation, sort of visualize that center, visualize light radiating there, be conscious of these things, these ways, these aspects of the power of order in your life. witness them, the more we become aware of them, we put our focus on it, and we recognize, oh, that's the power of order. Or I'm going to activate the power of order here. I've been doing a lot of, since my kids have gone off to college, I've been doing a lot of cleaning out of their rooms and their bathrooms. Oh my God! You should have seen what was in there. And going underneath, the sinks and clearing out the drawers and arranging them. And I have some resistance towards, starting the process, right? Who wants to start this process? And so there's resistance. So you go, okay, let me just breathe into my center here and activate that power of order, and then to kind of generate some energy there and then get started. And that sort of propelled me into the process. And then once you start, right, then it has energy of its own, and it feels so good to have everything arranged and get rid of all of that stuff that was just not serving anything, right? It's just taking up room. Just, a lot of things were new and unopened. Makeup, like donate that. Give it to somebody else who can use it. And throw out, all that old stuff. And it just feels so good, that cleanliness. And we'll talk about more of that when we discuss the power of elimination, because that's another process that helps us do that. So think about this in areas of your life that you want to bring a little more order, a little more balance in your life, that adjusting thing.